Well, good evening. Dr. Rick here, and just a few thoughts for you. I'm actually in the wonderful, cold, snowy state of Wisconsin doing a marriage seminar up here and working with some couples. And I had a thought for you. I realize that many couples come in and they're struggling. There's a lot of hurt, a lot of anger. They go to therapy and they stir up more of the hurt and anger that's already stirred up, anyways. And one thing I've noticed that people never really ask, really, people who are in a lot of pain, they never ask this question, which I tend to ask everybody. I know you're angry and hurt, but is there any part of you, even if it's a small part, that still cares about your partner or that still loves them? They usually want to answer out of the pain part, and I don't want to listen to the pain part. I want to listen to a part that does care. I work with a couple that way today. I asked them, is there any part of you that still cares about each other? And both of them, after thinking it through, said, yes, there is a part of me that still cares. And then I said, well, why don't you give that part of you that still cares a voice, and let's hear what it has to say. It's interesting. They said things like, well, I still love you, and I still care about you, and I still think you're a marvelous person, and those kinds of things. You know, so many times we honor the broken, wounded parts. We don't honor the parts of us, though as small as it might be, we don't honor those parts that still does love and does care. Maybe we ought to honor those parts as well, albeit however small they are, because you might find out it's those small, loving parts that can grow, and that maybe you both can become a healing energy to each other rather than just a pain invoking energy. As I've come to realize in my own marriage, I'd rather be a healing energy for Luella, not one that creates pain for her. And to be that kind of a man, I've got to be a very different way. And so, I understand that requires maturity, requires love and patience and kindness, all those different traits that mentioned in 1 Corinthians 13. But I do know this: I'd rather have the greater parts of me living in love rather than my greater parts being wounded, angry parts. So I practice forgiveness. I make the choices that I need to make that send a different message to Luella. And if you are out there listening to this and you go, you know what, most of me is angry and hurt, but there's a small part of me that still loves and cares. Why don't you give that part of you a voice, and why don't you honor that part and see what emerges? If I could help, let me know. Be blessed and have a good evening. Bye bye.